Hello, High Tide Imbibe. We have a beer for review tonight. This is new to me. I don't know how new this is to the brewery. They don't list it on their website, so I'm assuming maybe it's one of those deals where it's something that they actually have on tap in their bars, and they've had it maybe there for the longest while, and they've now just gotten around to canning it and releasing it into the NSLC. And I assume if they continue to release it in cans, it'll probably show up in like Bishop's Cellar or Harvest Wines and Spirits, etc., etc. But it's new to the NSLC. From what I can see, and like I checked, I saw its entry on Untapped. It's been tapped quite a few times, I guess. So it's been around for a little while, at the very least. This is Stillwell's IPA at 7.2% alcohol by volume. They have a blurb on here. They say they use Cascade and El Dorado hops on this. So Cascade, generally, you're gonna get your citrus. El Dorado, typically more tropical, usually implemented in that way with your pineapple and your mango kind of flavors. Although El Dorado can be pretty resinous depending on how you use it. You can get a big, like, kind of dank resinous kick from El Dorado if you use it a certain way. So they say here it's using both Cascade and El Dorado as a no-coast modern style. So they're claiming juicy and soft, but dry enough for max drinkability. So it's like a hybrid IPA. I guess that's kind of what they're trying to sell it as. Whatever. I'm sure it's been done before. There's nothing under the sun that has not been done, especially when it comes to an IPA at this point, I think. So. But all that matters is if it tastes good, drinks good. So we'll see. All right. Oh, here we go. We got Dan, Western Canadian reviewer, in the chat saying the Prairie IPA, since it's not West or East Coast. Very funny, Dan. But looking at here, it does kind of have like a nice hazy amberish color to it. It looks brighter on the camera, of course, but it's got kind of like almost an orange juice kind of thing, like a very pale orange juice or an apple juice or something along those lines, somewhere within that spectrum. Kind of does look like more of a East Coasty IPA in some regards, I'd say. I think I'm seeing like a lot of particulates coming up, not just bubbles. So it might be pretty, yeah, it looks pretty unfiltered. Yeah, all right. Let's go to Yoroma and see what we think. Okay. Okay, so the juice bomb kind of stuff comes up a little bit more in the nose, for sure. It's the more dominant half of this. Very like pineapple-y mango kind of in the background, although it's got the more cascadey aspect to it. There's that nice like citrus kick to it, more like an orange tangerine kind of thing. It mixes pretty well. This tastes like one of those smells like one of those hybrid ocean spray juices, well, they'll have like the mango orange juice papaya or whatever the fuck, whatever flavors they come up with. It smells like a better version of one of those. It smells all right. No big off-putting like tropical smells that would usually make me go, fuck this. So that's good. So far, no hazy detected, bro. taste, I guess. Cheers. Hmm. The nose pretty much translates to the taste. Again, the tropical-ish kind of stuff is a bit more prevalent. Pineapple, mango, definitely there, but not to the usual level that makes me just like instantly want to like drain pour one of these fucking things. Um, it's at a pretty decent level. The citrus stuff is a little bit even more in the background in the actual taste than it is in the nose. It's there. I think it's mostly like when I'm thinking of like the sort of orange citrus, tangerine citrus kind of component to this, it's really coming out in the end. The end of this, the finish on this is very uh, like the pith of the orange. It's got that kind of like bitterness to it that's coming out. Which isn't bad. And now I'm drinking on a little bit more. The orange is coming out a little bit more as well. Yeah. It's almost to the point where now it kind of it's changing on my as I subsequent sips into it. It seems to be changing a little bit here. When more because more of that bitterness from the finish is like kind of like coating the rest of my mouth now. Um, that orange pith kind of thing is mixing with the more tropical flavors. It's coming off more now like orange, almost grapefruit, like an orange grapefruit juice kind of combo, which is honestly much more preferable than like a mango pineapple finish for me. This is much more agreeable. It's not bad. So just as a standard IPA, it does all the things. It's got a hell of enough bitterness, that's for sure. That finish is pretty bitter. Um, the alcohol is what, like I said, 7.2%. So it's a puncher. It punches up a little bit. Um, flavor wise, decent. Kind of the expected hop driven kind of flavor profile of this. Not getting a lot of like malt flavor really, which is something I tend to look for in an IPA. I kind of like the more like a balance the malt with the hops kind of thing. Not really that going on here. It drinks like upper light bodied, which is fine for an IPA, I guess. So style wise is just like a standard IPA that a variation on the standard IPA. It's an 8, I guess. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Everything works. It does all the things an IPA is supposed to do. So you can't complain about that. My own personal preference. Let's say a very low 7. Right on the edge of whether I want to buy it again. I like it, but I don't like it necessarily that much. I might consider buying it again. But the flavors aren't quite 100% in the way I want them to be for an IPA. So that's kind of going to be a thing in the back of my mind if I look at this on the shelf again, kind of thing. Of course, for you, the results may vary. You may very much like this, so this might be much higher in your estimation. But yeah, I'm going to put a 7. It's kind of like on the fence of whether I'll buy again or not. But I mean, if someone handed this to me, sure the fuck I would drink it, no problem. It's a good beer. It's just not what I tend to look for in IPAs. But I mean, as far as like their mission statement of like making a no coast, quote unquote, IPA, yeah, they kind of did it. It's got a good combination of like the prevailing sort of two big styles that people think of when they think of, you know, West Coast versus East Coast. Although maybe here's the reason it's not so high in regards for me. The West Coast is much more diminished on this than the East Coast, the prevalent East Coast styles as they are these days, with the hazies and the juice bombs and all that kind of stuff, right? That's it's a bit more on that side overall than it is like a real like dank, just like, you know, straight up cat piss fucking West Coast IPA kind of thing. Like it's got little elements of that, but it's not as big as the East Coast kind of elements. So, you know, if they tweak the formula a little bit more, where I'm getting more of that might like resinous pine or something along those lines in here, like some note of that kind of like creeping up, I might very well have, you know, like scored this like double nines or something like that. But you know, as it stands, still really strong score. 8 for style, 7 for personal preference. Stillwell's IPA is pretty goddamn good for what it is. You know, Stillwell doesn't seem to really release duds. They don't really release shitty beers. They kind of like take their time and really craft good beers. They seem to rarely craft anything new. They just kind of every once in a while they'll add a little something to their core from the looks of it. If indeed that's the case with this, that this is now like a new addition to their core lineup. And you know, good on them for doing that. I do kind of like, you know, side eye fucking breweries that are just constantly coming out with new styles all the time and new versions of styles and stuff like that. It's like at some point it just looks like you're desperately sort of grasping for market attention and not so much interested in crafting really good beers, which is a bad look. But you might fucking skirt through with it because you're a tourist brewery or something. You might do that, right? So I don't know. I don't own a brewery, so you know, I'm speaking out of turn when it comes to the business side of things. But it just seems to me that breweries that just keep releasing like one-offs and like tons of like new variations and stuff all the time is like, do I need to keep up with this? I don't think I do. Why don't you just make a good core of stuff that I can just stick to, and I'll stick with that. Instead, you get breweries like Propeller, like taking one of their greatest beers, their London Porter, one of my all-time favorite beers, making it a seasonal and then just erasing it from existence a couple of years later. Basically, they don't even make it anymore, as far as I can tell. And it's like, what the fuck? And instead, we got all these like weird variations. Some of them are like, oh, here's our London Porter base with like a orange chocolate. Whether they're the Rocher chocolates or whatever chocolate oranges or whatever. Here's our bullshit candy sugar version of some bullshit, and it's like, yeah, you'll never make that again, will you? But you made it this year for whatever fucking reason, and it was a waste of everybody's time. Anyway, I'm done ranting. I'm going on 14 minutes here. I shouldn't be going on this long for this beer review. Thanks for watching. I might be back with another review or two tonight. I got a couple other beers to review, so I might do them tonight. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.